In the heart of the tranquil village of Ashwick stood a playground, its memories faded by time and nature's embrace. The children whispered about it, naming it the Forgotten Playground. Nestled within a thicket of ancient trees, its worn swings and rusty slides created an eerie tableau that gave villagers pause. The air around the playground seemed to hold a touch of mystery, as if it retained echoes of the gleeful laughter that had long since faded away. Adults warned the youngsters to steer clear, sensing an unsettling ambience that they couldn't quite articulate. Whispers of strange occurrences and hushed tales added to the air of unease, making it a place avoided by all. As days turned into years, the playground remained untouched, its secrets buried beneath layers of overgrowth and fading daylight. The village continued its quiet existence, but the shadow of the forgotten playground continued to cast its eerie influence, a reminder of something unseen, something best left unexplored. One day, Tom, a boy from the village, ventured into the forgotten playground driven by curiosity. There, weathered play equipment cast shadows in the fading light. Sitting on a swing, he gave it a gentle push, and it began to sway silently. Amidst the rustling of the trees, faint laughter reached his ears. Tom turned around, but no one was there. He tried to convince himself it was just the wind, yet an uncanny feeling enveloped the surroundings. As dusk settled, Tom returned to the playground. Another boy stood there, blending into the twilight with his attire, his form obscured by shadows. He beckoned with a smile, and Tom, pulled by an inexplicable allure, approached. The boy introduced himself as Jake. Swiftly, they became friends, and together, they reveled in the playground's embrace, laughter echoing through the trees. Days passed, and Tom and Jake frequented the playground more. Jake's laughter resonated through the woods, and his infectious grin brought solace to Tom's heart. However, the other village children continued to steer clear. Tom shared the tale of Jake, but the mention of his name brought only anxious glances from the others. As dusk settled in, Tom found himself drawn back to the forgotten playground. There stood another boy, his form melding with the fading light, his figure cloaked in shadows. A faint smile played upon his lips as he beckoned Tom closer. The boy introduced himself as Jake. Tom was inexplicably pulled toward him, as if by an invisible thread. Tom and Jake quickly became friends, sharing laughter and games in the peculiar playground. With each passing day, Jake's laughter echoed through the trees, and Tom found solace in his company. However, the other children still kept their distance, their uneasy glances casting shadows of doubt. Despite Tom's attempts to share Jake's existence with others, they responded with unease and avoidance. The village children continued to steer clear of the playground, their apprehension growing stronger as time passed. Tom and Jake, however, reveled in a newfound companionship, oblivious to the mounting unease surrounding them. The friendship between Tom and Jake blossomed, the shadows of the playground becoming their haven. Unbeknownst to Tom, the bond they forged held secrets deeper than he could fathom. As days went by, Tom and Jake started visiting the playground more frequently. Jake's laughter echoed through the trees, and Tom found solace in his smile. Yet, the other children continued to keep their distance. Tom tried to explain Jake to them, but they only wore uneasy expressions in response. Despite the village's skepticism, Tom and Jake's friendship grew stronger. They spent hours together, playing games and sharing secrets amidst the backdrop of the forgotten playground's eerie beauty. Tom noticed the way Jake's shadow seemed to dance, almost alive with a mysterious energy. But he brushed aside his suspicions, focusing on the happiness that their companionship brought. Tom's curiosity regarding Jake's true nature lingered, yet he dared not bring it up. Instead, he embraced the moments of laughter and camaraderie they shared, grateful for the bond they had formed. The village's warnings seemed distant, as if he and Jake had created their own world within the shadows. Little did Tom know that shadows held secrets darker than he could have ever imagined. The joy he felt in Jake's company was genuine, but as the days passed, he couldn't shake the feeling that something was amiss. The unsettling sensation grew stronger, and he couldn't ignore the nagging doubts that crept into his mind. In the depths of twilight, as the setting sun cast long shadows across the playground, Tom's unease intensified. He looked at Jake, who was grinning as always, but his eyes held an enigmatic gleam that sent shivers down Tom's spine. Tom realized that the shadows that danced around Jake were more than just tricks of the light. They held a secret that could change everything. One day, Tom decided to inquire about the forgotten playground from the village elder. The elder's face registered surprise, and with a distant look, began recounting the past. The playground was once a place where the village children frolicked with forgotten spirits. Jake was one of them. They enjoyed blissful times, but gradually blurred the line between the real world and the realm of the ghosts. The elders shared that Jake, once human, had become fused with shadows after too much interaction with the spirits at the playground. Since then, he was trapped in the playground, existing within its shadows. Tom was taken aback, but his bond with Jake remained steadfast. The revelation was both haunting and heartbreaking. Tom couldn't help but sympathize with his friend's plight. He realized that the laughter and games shared with Jake were intertwined with a sorrowful truth. The boundary between life and the supernatural was fragile, and Jake had been ensnared. As the elder's story concluded, the weight of the situation pressed upon Tom's shoulders. He now understood why the village children had been warned to avoid the playground, why Jake's laughter had held an eerie resonance. Determination ignited within Tom. He knew he had to find a way to free Jake from the shadowed imprisonment and grant him the release he deserved. The village elder revealed that Jake was once human, but he had spent too much time interacting with the ghosts at the playground, leading his soul to merge with the shadows. Since then, Jake had been trapped within the confines of the playground, living within its shadows. Tom was shocked, but Jake's friendship remained unchanged. The village elder explained the complicated process required to free Jake from his shadowy prison. Tom, determined to help his friend, enlisted the elder's guidance. Under the moonlight, the ritual took place at the playground. As the ritual progressed, the shadows slowly detached from Jake, revealing his true form. Exhausted, Jake returned to his former self, breathing his last breath within Tom's arms. In that poignant moment, the fusion of a human soul and shadows had ceased to be. The bond between Tom and Jake had transcended the boundaries of life and death. As the moonlight bathed the playground, a sense of closure and release lingered in the air. The village had lost one of its own, but the sacrifice had not been in vain. Jake was finally free from the darkness that had held him captive, his spirit finding peace beyond the earthly realm. The village would never forget the tale of Jake and the playground, a reminder that friendship could endure even in the face of the supernatural. And though the playground had vanished, its memory continued to live on in the whispered laughter carried by the wind through the trees, a testament to the enduring power of connection and the mysteries that lie within the shadows. Determined to find a way to free Jake, Tom enlisted the elder's help in conducting an ancient ritual. Under the moonlit sky at the playground, the ritual began. As it progressed, the shadow slowly detached from Jake. Rapidly, Jake's contours returned, and finally, his true form was restored. However, his energy was almost depleted, and he peacefully breathed his last in Tom's arms. Grief and relief mingled in Tom's heart as he held Jake's lifeless form. The village had been saved from the haunting, yet Tom couldn't shake the sense of emptiness that came with losing a friend. The villagers gathered, witnessing the culmination of the ritual and the bittersweet end of Jake's spectral existence. As the night grew darker, Tom laid Jake's body on a makeshift bed of leaves, surrounded by villagers holding candles. A solemn aura enveloped the scene. Tom spoke words of gratitude for the time they had shared, for the friendship that transcended the boundary between the living and the shadow world. With the ritual complete, the playground's atmosphere changed. The air felt lighter, and the eeriness dissipated. The playground, once a portal to the spectral realm, now stood as a quiet, forgotten corner of the woods. Tom and the villagers carried Jake's memory in their hearts, cherishing the courage he had shown and the bond they had formed in the midst of shadows. And so, the forgotten playground faded from the village's tales, but it remained etched in the minds of those who had witnessed the liberation of a lost soul, a story of friendship that transcended the barriers of life and death. After Jake's soul was released, the playground quietly vanished. The villagers rarely spoke of it afterward, but occasionally, when entering the dim woods, faint laughter could be heard carried by the wind. It was a testament to Jake's lingering spirit, and his friendship was never to be forgotten. The village retained the memory of the strange occurrences, a reminder of the thin veil between the living and the ethereal. Years passed, and the tale of the forgotten playground turned into a local legend. Ashwick itself transformed over time, its once thriving forest and village now a place of tranquility. A small memorial was erected in the village center, honoring the memory of Jake and the bond that defied the boundary between realms. The laughter that echoed through the trees was a comfort to some and a mystery to others. It was a connection to the past, a reminder of the inexplicable, and a symbol of the enduring friendship that transcended life and death. Those who understood the significance of the laughter smiled knowingly, cherishing the magic that still lingered in the air, a testament to the power of companionship that could overcome even the most mysterious and chilling of circumstances. And so, the forgotten playground became a piece of the village's heart, a story shared through generations, a tale of darkness and light, friendship and eternity.